right? So far we was talking about S3 object based storage device, right? How we can store our our object in the S3 device, storage, how we can access them, how we can set the permission, so on and so forth, and how we can make them accessible, and how we can you know uh, create the route 53 buckets, and so on and so forth, right? Now we was also talking about couple of life cycle management policies, right? When we was talking about life cycle management policies, then we was talking about moving our storage from some costly bucket or from costly storage to the you can say cheap storage, right? So we're gonna talk about the S3 Glacier also, which is the kind of a cheap storage, which is basically used for storing your archives and the data which is not frequently accessed, right? If you see, when हम S3 bucket create कर रहे थे, when we was seeing the storage classes, right, you would have seen there S3 Glacier, right, S3 Glacier archived. So what we can do is we can change our storage class. We can say like after this much of time you can put your data in the S3 Glacier, because this is not much costlier. But what will happen when you create the S3 Glacier and you put your data in the S3 Glacier, right? You can put the data you wants to keep, but whenever you will retrieve your data, it will charge you, right? So depending on the plan you choose, while downloading your data, while viewing your data, you'll have to pay to AWS for that, right? So we will talk about that also. We'll see that how we do it. So सबसे पहले you can navigate to the S3 Glacier bucket, right? When you come here, if you come down now, you can go through the description of this. It says Amazon S3 Glacier is an extremely low cost storage service that provides secure, durable and flexible storage, data backup and archivables, right? So if you want to keep some backup and archival which you do not want to access frequently, put your data here. So what steps we have to follow? We have to create vaults, set data retrieval policies, set event notification. That means you'll have to create vaults. A vault is a container for storing archivables. An archive is any object, it may be photo, video, document, which you store in a vault. When we talk about storing and retrieval policies, it says the data retrieval limit such as free tier only or max retrieval data to manage the retrieval cost with a few click in the AWS console. This policy will decide the cost, right? You choose. If you choose free tier, there will be some limit. If you choose the max retrieval rate, it will be different cost. It will provide you with a different cost. So you have to choose the data retrieval policy carefully also. The next is set event. You know what is event and what is notification, right? You can configure vaults to send a notification to you or your application when retrieving data. Notification are delivering by the using Amazon simple notification service. We will talk about the SNS later on, right? If you want to send the notification, so you can use it. So let's quickly go ahead and create the vault. Right? So now you have to select where you would like to create your Glacier bucket. You can select the region here, right? So what kind of data you would like to update here? You can see here data is stored in the S3 in archives. An archive can be any data such as photo, videos, documents. You can upload a single file as an archive or aggregate multiple files into the tar or zip file. So whatever you have, right? A single archive can be as large as 40 terabytes, right? You can have in a single archive you can have 40 terabytes of data. You can store an unlimited number of archives and unlimited amount of data in the S3 Glacier. So there is no limit of doing that, right? You can do unlimited data in this bucket. So you just have to select which region you would like, right? We are in North Virginia by default. That's what we are going to see, the North Virginia. You can give the vault name here. Let's say I will give it I will give it archive, right? And we'll go ahead clicking next, right? At this moment I will not use the notification policy, so I will say no, do not enable the notification. But yes, if you have S3, I mean SNS enabled, you can go ahead and click on the enable the notification. Click on next, right? And you can review the things. This is in North Virginia and the name of the vault is archive. Go ahead and submit it, right? Once you have submitted it, you can see not yet updated, inventory not yet updated, and you can see this is the archive name here, right? You can refresh it. You can see there is nothing at this moment. No, there is no size, there is no archives, nothing is here, right? So let's click again here, right? Now if you come down, guys, you can see couple of details are here, right? Created on, you know, the ARN notifications, last updated. You can enable the notification service lotter also. You can go to the permission and edit the policies and apply some policies, who can access, who cannot access. You can go and, you know, create some vault lock policies also here. You can go to the tags and add some tag here, right? You can go up here and delete the vault. You can go to settings, right? You can set the retrieval policies here. This is what we was talking about, right? So even if you see here provision capacity, you can add the capacity also. We'll go through the, you know, retrieval policies first, right? Using S3 data retrieval policies, you can manage retrieval costs by setting up the limit on retrieval activities across your EWS accounts. In each region, retrieval policies apply to the standard retrievals. That means you'll have to set which kind of policies you are going to choose. That will cost you something. Let's say if you go with the free tier only retrieve data within the free tier data retrieval request that exceeds the free tier will not be accepted, right? There is no cost for this, but there will be a limit. You'll have to see the, you know, billing, and you'll have to go to the billing setting and see what you know, how much cost or how much data we can retrieve in the free tier account. The next you can see max retrieval rate 1 hour. That means if you need this in data in 1 hour, right, retrieval cost will be 7.20 month or less, right? In the same way, if you increase 100 GB, right, so this will cost you this. So they will charge you the retrieval cost, right? How much data you are going to pull, GB per hour, right? The same way you'll have the cost, right? Let's say you score it 100, it's very one, right? So that's in GB itself. So you'll have to choose the policies. If you set no retrieval limit, right, then what will happen is all the valid data retrieval requests will be accepted. Data retrieval cost will be vary based on the usage. So if you select this one, so whatever the usage would be, right, as per those you will be getting charged. So you can also see the pricing page here, what pricing they are going to get for the Glacier, right? So everything will be available for you, right, by the regions, right? If you see this in the region per GB, they will charge you this. If you select here some other region, west, right, they will charge you, you know, this much of cents per GB per month, right? So everything you can calculate here. You can see what is which suits your requirement. If anyhow you get a chance to use, you know, such kind of bucket and policies, I mean you get a chance to put your data in the S3 bucket. So you can come here and, you know, see the pricing detail here, each and everything, right? So let's go ahead and select the free tier at this moment. So we are not going to, you know, pull and push more data. Click save here, right? Go ahead and save it. Right now what we have done is we have now our bucket available with us. Right now how to put data here, right? The first thing, whenever we create the S3 policies, if we can select there, set the rules where the data should go, right? Even we have so many tools available in the market which can help us to upload and download the data from Glacier. Let's say I am going to take one tool which is called the Fast Glacier. So I think it's downloaded now. Quickly go ahead and install it quickly. You will need access key and secret key to access this, right? To access your Amazon account from your local machine or from wherever you want. So if you want to do it programmatically as well, you can do that, right? From using, you can push and pull your data using some APIs. I think it's doing twice. Okay, no. Right, you can see this has been successfully installed. Now it says account name, account type, what kind of Glacier you have, right? And what is the key, secret key, what is the access key, everything you need to set up here, right? So let's go here now to Amazon Glacier, go here and go to my security credentials. Go to access keys and secret keys. At this moment you do not see I do not have any key, so just create key and just download them. Now you can see I have created my access keys and secret keys. Now just close this. And I think this is not mine. I'm not sure if it was downloaded. Let's delete this quickly. Create and download key. You can also click on show access key here, which will show you the key. You can like copy and paste and keep it here. Alright, remember, once you close it, if you do not save it, only the access key would be visible here. The secret key is never recoverable, right? So that's what you have to note it down sometime. So the next thing you need to do is click on my account if you want to see a couple of more things here, the name and other things. Let's leave it for now. I will go to my Fast Glacier itself. Account name, I will call it Shaker. It's Amazon Glacier. Let's take the access key. Let's go ahead and find this secret key also. Click on add new account. So you can see now this has successfully navigated you to the your AWS account. Now you can see all the available region here. So just select the region you are looking for, and you can see in North Virginia you have one directory available here, right? You can upload your file, you can add new folders, you can download from here anything you want. So even you can drag and drop the files here. Let's say I'm gonna drop and drag one file here itself. Come up, man, it's taking time, so I will upload it. Go to desktop and find that image. I will place this, let's say photo.pdf, right? So it's gonna it has been quickly, now you can see uploaded to the S3. Alright, so let's go to the S3 console again and see if we get some detail there. Now we can see we are in the S3 now. I mean in the archived folder itself. We cannot see anything here. It might take some time in uploading things, right? But it should show the archive and the size here. I think inventory has not yet updated, right? So you'll be able to see the data in couple of, in some time. Let's keep some more data here. Let's say what I will keep is anything. You can upload file. Let's say place my resume here itself. It has uploaded, right? And now let's say that this is not available yet to us, though it should be. Right, but what will happen when if you want to download the data from S3 bucket, right? Let's say I want to download this JPG itself, right? I select it, I want to download some data here. Now it will ask you for the cost again. Do you want to expedite it? If you need it quickly in a 1 to 5 minutes, then you'll have to pay this cost, right? If you use the standard, there is no cost associated with it, but it will take 3 hours to 5 hours to download this small image. Again, if you want bulk, so the estimated cost would be this. The download start in 5 to 12 hours. It will start. So when it will download, nobody knows. Right? So just to download one file, this is going to take this much of time. If you take the standard, it will start in 3 to 5 hours. But if you want to expedite it, so you'll have to pay the cost for this. So that's the problem in the problem with the, you can say, S3 bucket, S3 Glacier. So it takes time in downloading the data. So you'll have, but this is very cheap comparison than the other storage, which is called, you can say, very cheap. Right? If you want to expedite it, you can confirm it, right? You can decide where you would like to download it. Let's say I'm going to download this in document section. Yep, you'll be able to do that. It's initiating, but I think it's getting failed or queued somewhere. You can see the things here. If you go up. And if you see what is in failed section, expedite archival for this, in this failed, what says insufficient capacity. There is an insufficient capacity. To process this, expedite request. Okay, so I think it may be because of free tier or something. We do not have capacity to expedite it quickly. So that's what it says. It is getting failed, though it is in queue also. All section you can see one only, right? So let's do one thing. Let's stop this first. Let's retry it and say download files. For this, let's say I don't expedite it, I'd say standard confirm retrieval. So now I have done the request. It says selected file have been requested, please wait, right? And if you see, 2 tasks are running, right? So the process is still running, right? Just to download the 64 KB of file. It says next check is 4/29/31. So most probably this is going to take much time. So if you want the data, you do not need much, right? But you believe sometime it may be like you may need it, right, to extract it in a 30 days, 90 days, something. So you can go ahead and use it. Any question, guys?